Ever wish you could walk around inside of your favorite TV and movie homes? Well, on this channel, you can. Today, we'll be exploring every inch of the home from the Golden Girls. Hi, I'm Marina Coates. I have a degree in architecture and an obsession with set design. Welcome to Behind the Scenes, where we get up close and personal with all your favorite TV and movie homes. Today we'll be touring the home from the Golden Girls. You'll get to see views from the home that we didn't get to see on TV, with ceilings and all four walls. We'll explore their living room, kitchen, all four of the bedrooms, the bathroom, and we'll even go outside and have a look around their lanai. Let's get started. We'll begin with an overhead view to help us get our bearings. This home is huge. So huge, in fact, that for the first time, I actually needed to break up the overhead shots into two parts. This is part one, the main living area and the lanai. This is the front door. Here's the living room. This is their fireplace area with a seating area over here. The door to the kitchen is here. This is the door to the hallway with all of their bedrooms. This hallway goes back to the lanai, and this is the lanai. The living room. The home changed over the course of the series, so I had to pick a season to base this model on, and I chose season 2. We're all very familiar with the living room area. So many scenes took place here. The sofa was here with a matching chair on each side. Behind that was a sofa table. We rarely got to see much of this part of the room set off in the background, but to me, it's the best part of the entire home. I love the architectural elements with all the posts and beams, especially how these beams over the fireplace and the seating area are open to the sky with skylights above them. Incredible. I love the floor-to-ceiling windows looking outside to the lush greenery, and this L-shaped platform with terracotta tiles punctuated by the wood columns. It was the area I couldn't wait to finish so that I could walk around back there. You'll get a nice long look at it today. Before we take the tour of the living room, there are a few more things to point out. I was able to find some of the artwork. This painting over the fireplace is Anemones and Chinese Vase by Henry Matisse. This piece was a little harder to track down, but a Reddit user correctly identified it as Halcyon Urn 2. And these two pieces by the door to the kitchen are from the Water Lily series by Claude Monet. And I was even able to locate a recreation of the material used on the sofa, still available for purchase. That was a fun find. And now, what to put on the fourth wall? The fourth wall is the one that we never get to see on TV shows because that's where the cameras and the audience were situated. For this wall, we were given some clues. In one episode, we see a piano in this corner along this wall, so I put a piano there. We also know there was a TV along this wall that shows up in some episodes. Other times we see other things there. But that made it fairly easy to finish out this wall. We're about to take the full tour of the living room area, and as we do, be looking for Easter eggs. Those are hidden references or jokes that fans of the show will immediately recognize. At the end, I'll do an Easter egg reveal so you can see if you found all of them. Scenes that took place in the living room. Thinking a robbery is taking place, Rose shoots and asks questions later. She ends up destroying Blanche's favorite vase. Blanche asks Sophia to help her collect up the fragments so she can glue them back together. But since Sophia wasn't such a fan of the vase, she hides some of the pieces in a nearby potted plant. Dorothy getting ready for what she thinks is a new love interest, only to discover that there must have been a misunderstanding as he shows up in his professional garb. He's a priest. Visits from Dreyfus, the neighbor's dog, and a lot of talks about the dates that the girls have just been on. And now we'll take the tour of this whole main area. Remember to watch for the Easter eggs. And now for the Easter egg reveal. I asked for ideas for Easter eggs for my Patreon members. You'll see their names next to their suggestions in the upcoming tours. There was Sophia's straw and beaded purse on the sofa table, and on the coffee table, a magazine with the Golden Girls on the cover. If you're curious just how I make these tours, you can catch all the behind-the-scenes action on my Patreon page. Patreon members got to suggest the Easter eggs today, but they also get to give other input, get the first looks at all of the tours on their own without any narration. And as I discover fun facts along the way, so do they, and so much more. All for just $5 a month. I'll put the link to my Patreon account below. And now on to the lanai. On the Golden Girls, the outdoor space is called a lanai, particularly by Blanche. And while it's technically a patio, lanai is more commonly used for a covered patio in Hawaii, but we'll go with Blanche's name here. You can see in this overhead shot that on the way to the lanai, there's a space left over here. This could be a half bath, a storage room, or utility closet, maybe even a laundry room. What would you put there? We often saw the girls headed out this hallway to go to the lanai, or coming back from there. The girls spent a lot of time on the lanai, but we never got to follow them out there. Until today. It was another little area that I couldn't wait to explore. I also wanted to see what the fourth wall might look like. The Golden Girls has been one of my most requested homes. People want to see it, but they're also confused by the home. The layout perplexes them. Well, they're not wrong. It is confusing. And it's confusing because it's an impossible home, as are many TV homes. It's yet another example where the exterior we are shown simply cannot match what we see on the interior. As with most TV homes, nothing was ever filmed inside the home that were shown in the exterior shots. And all interior shots were filmed in a studio. The real-life home is in Brentwood, California, rather than Florida, and it sold in 2020 for $4 million. That was $1 million over the asking price. The layout has other inconsistencies, too. This long hall that leads to their bedrooms is not nearly long enough for all of the bedrooms, at least not to exist in the way that they're shown to us and where they're shown to be. I studied a lot of versions online where others were also trying to make sense of it, which in the end was, of course, an impossible task. This was one of my favorites. They did have to make some changes, such as putting Blanche's room up front where it was in the pilot episode, but what I liked about it was that it most closely matches the exterior we are shown. The girls' bedrooms. As mentioned in the pilot episode, we are shown Blanche's room as being down this hallway, up at the front of the home. But after that episode, it's always shown as being down at the end of this long hallway. So that places Blanche's room here. Sophia's room is here. Dorothy's room is next to hers, here. And Rose's room is across the hall from Dorothy's. When I placed the rooms in that order, the hallway ended up a lot longer than were shown on TV. This, by the way, is extremely common on TV shows. Rarely are all of the sets of the rooms laid out in the order that we see them on TV. If a certain room is only occasionally used for a scene, its walls are stored elsewhere until it's needed again. So these are the doors to the girls' rooms, but their full rooms as we know them are not behind those doors. Again, I modeled these bedrooms from season 2 since they changed so much over the course of the series. Sophia's room. This door next to her bed is a closet. The only portion of the room we don't get to see is this part. We're not shown a bathroom door for Sophia. There could possibly be a small bathroom here in this corner, but it would cut into the hallway the girls always take to go to the garage. The set designers seem to custom design each room to fit their individual personalities. This one kind of has a homey grandma vibe to it. I think we'd know it was Sophia's room without being told. Here's a fun fact. Estelle Getty, who played Sophia, was in fact only 62 years old when the show first aired, which was 1 year younger than Bea Arthur, who played her daughter. The character of Sophia was initially just meant to appear occasionally, but she proved so popular they wound up making her a regular. And I'm sure those facial expressions and the way she delivered her lines played a big part in her popularity. Dorothy's room. This room is a straightforward, sensible, no-frills room, yet elegant and classy, just like Dorothy herself. There was a bathroom here and a closet on this side. And we know there was a makeup table here on this wall, the fourth wall. Bea Arthur was 63 when the series began. She was already well known by audiences of the time for her role as Maud in the show of the same title. She could steal a scene without using any words, simply by a lift of the eyes and a pause as she took in what had just been said. Don't you just miss all of these girls? Blanche's room. This room has a dramatic, flamboyant, and decidedly feminine feel to it, just like Blanche. Rue McClanahan and Betty White were originally going to play each other's characters, but they both had a desire to try different types than they had played in the past, so they wound up switching roles. Rue was 51 when the show started, the youngest of the group. Blanche's room saw a lot of action. both in terms of scene shot here as well as romantically. We were shown a makeup table on the fourth wall, so you'll see that in the tour. As we tour these bedrooms, be looking for Easter eggs. You'll find 2 in Blanche's room. Rose's room. This room has more of an innocent feel to it, with a bit of a head in the clouds kind of vibe, right down to the cloud motif on the wallpaper. Betty White, who was 63 when the show first aired, described her character once as dim but not dumb. There was definitely a naivety there, and her stories of St. Olaf were the best. Her delivery of them sometimes had the cast accidentally breaking character as they listened. Can you blame them? This was her closet, and this door led to her bathroom. Be looking for 3 Easter eggs in Rose's room in the tour coming up next. The bathroom. In season 1, we were given a great look at their bathroom. In that episode, they walked towards Sophia's room to get to it. But as I explained earlier, it couldn't actually be there. So I took the liberty of placing it behind Rose's bathroom door. It lined up perfectly, and this way we get to see a tour of it. I love these windows above the vanity with a round mirror hanging in front of one of them. Great touch. We'll take the full tour of the bedrooms and bathroom now. After that, the kitchen. And now for the Easter egg reveal. In Blanche's room, there's a sneaky one. Her grandmother's wind chimes hung outside the window. This is from the episode where she reminisces as she visits her grandmother's home before it's torn down and takes the wind chimes home with her. And on her makeup table was a young picture of the actor George Grizzard, who played her husband George, who in one episode Blanche believes has returned and was alive the whole time, only to find out it was just a dream. In Rose's room, there's a large picture of St. Olaf, frequently mentioned in her equally frequent stories, an issue of the Journal of Abnormal Psychology, which she quotes in one episode, much to Blanche's surprise, which gets a snarky, atypical response from Rose, summing up Blanche's love life. And a bowling trophy sits proudly on top of one of Rose's dressers from the episode where Rose's surprising competitive streak makes an appearance. She wins the bowling trophy when Dorothy has to attend to other pressing matters, but Rose decides to put all of their names on it, although she makes sure her name is 3 times as big as the others. The kitchen. Some things of note about the kitchen before we take the tour. First of all, since we know they always went out this way to go to the garage, even though it doesn't make sense, I went ahead and made a little hallway there that they could walk around to a door I put on the side of the garage. Another interesting thing, there was no dishwasher in the kitchen, which was fairly unusual for a home that size back then. This lobster mold appeared on All in the Family first, and then later shows up on the Golden Girls. And although there is internet lore suggesting that it's something else, it is in fact a lobster hanging by its tail with its claws facing down. From this image, we can see that the cooking island did not go right up against the fourth wall, as we're able to see this whole side of it here. That helped me know that the fourth wall was further back. It didn't end at the island. For the rest of the fourth wall, I added a large pantry and storage cabinet, a small bench, and a door to the garage. And I know, they always went the other way to go to the garage, but this leads directly to the garage. So if this were a real home, there would be one there. I'd love to hear in the comments how you picture the layout of this home working. And now, the heart of the home, where most of their best talks took place, the kitchen table. Usually only 3 of them would be sitting at the table at a time, even though there was a 4th chair. This occurs often on TV shows. It's set up that way so that no one is blocking the camera. Here is where the girls would gather for dessert, often cheesecake, and talk for hours. These girls certainly did not hold back. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was off limits. Scenes that took place in the kitchen. Blanche and Dorothy sneaking a peek to see what's going down in the kitchen. A short venture into catering to earn some extra cash done assembly line style. And the girls enjoying some fried chicken until they start to wonder if it's Rose's pet chicken. For this tour, I'm going to give you the Easter egg reveals before the tour. You just need to spot them. A picture of the neighbor's dog Dreyfus, who would make frequent visits. A Golden Girls cookbook that you can still find online. And cheesecake, of course. What is it about this show that made it such an enduring classic? Well, a lot of different elements had to come together for it to still be a hit all these years later. Here are a few. The cast. It was the perfect ensemble cast, and we felt like we knew these people. When they pulled up to the kitchen table and started sharing their problems or dishing advice or telling stories, it was as though we were right there in that 4th chair. And we wanted in on the scoop too, waiting for them to spill the tea. You could argue that maybe that's why they always left that 4th chair empty. They each unloaded their problems there, and darned if the 4 of them didn't at least try to work them out together. As the opening song says, they really were pals and confidants. They shared stories of their earlier lives as young women, served up with insights, regrets, lessons learned, and always with humor and a healthy slice of cheesecake. And the stories were always entertaining. Although the other girls would get bored with Rose's long, detailed St. Olaf stories, the rest of us were riveted. This was pure entertainment. We saw women who some would say were past the prime of their lives, but they were living their best lives and having the time of their lives. Vibrant, busy, active, never a dull moment. They were 4 single women, but they were neither alone or lonely. They had each other, and they had each other's backs, always. If you messed with one, you messed with them all, just like sisters, just like family, in the golden years of their lives. What TV or movie home tour would you like to see next? Let me know in the comments. But as for today, that's a wrap. See you next time on Behind the Scenes.